Hey everybody, Jeff Stone here with day 57 of the year 2015 at magicreview.com. Today we're taking a look at David Penn's tie shell, the color changing tie. So I think the name says it all. It's a color changing tie, and the way you do it is a tie shell. So you get a couple little somethings in here, but you basically, the way this works is you're wearing a regular tie that's just tied normally, and then you have this tie shell that slips over the other tie, and it looks like that's the tie you're wearing. And so to make the change happen, you just simply slide the other tie, the shell, off of your main tie. So now this is not the kind of thing where you go, look at my red tie, and whoosh, now it's blue. Because you're actually sliding this gimmick off of yourself and then kind of balling it up and ditching it in. You know, inside your top bit is one suggestion they have, which I thought was great. It's not like an open vanish. It's just like a storage pouch in that case. Or if you are doing like a stage or parlor kind of a thing, you got a little discard box or whatever, or a box with some props in it or your case. The idea, though, is you need to turn your back to your audience for a moment. And that's an easy thing to do. It's, you know, hey, show the card around to everybody. I won't look. And you turn around, you take the shell off. And it takes a second, you know. It's easier than taking off a glove. I mean, it just slides right off. And so you take it off. Now, let me qualify that. I haven't actually made the gimmick, so saying it's as easy as sliding a glove off, it looked at that easy when he did it on the video, all right? And I'll explain why I haven't made the gimmick in a minute. But it just slides off because it's just a tube that slides over your tie. So anyway, it's a simple thing to slide off. But while your back's turned, they're showing their card around or whatever. Then you slide it off and you ditch it. And then when you turn back around, it's not the kind of thing that you go, look, now my tie's red or whatever color it wasn't before. It's not that kind of trick. It's the kind of thing where it's a psychological thing. And oddly enough, I just watched an episode of Brain Games today on Netflix, and it was about this very concept about how people just don't notice as much things as they think. And it fits right into the concept of the way this color change works. Why is that weird light on my face again today? You guys see that? It's like on my chin right now. I don't know what's going on, man. I can never get the lighting right for this thing. And see, maybe you didn't notice it until I pointed it out, but now that I've pointed it out, it's going to bug you. Anyway, so the whole idea, the way that David Penn uses this is in the context of a color-changing deck routine. And he mentioned he got his inspiration from somebody else, and I forgot who it was, sorry. But the idea was that at the end of the color-changing deck routine, like everything had changed. You know, the tablecloth had changed colors, his shirt changed colors, all this kind of stuff. So David Penn's idea was to do it with just the tie. And so there's lots of different ways. He uses it in his corporate gigs when he has a little talk about perception and that kind of thing. And at the beginning of the show, he points out his tie and he talks about how it makes a bold statement and how people perceive somebody wearing this kind of tie a certain way. And so he draws attention to it, but somewhere in the middle of the show, he removes the tie, the shell, and at the end of the show, he draws attention back to it, and there's this big gasp that, oh, the tie changed and we never saw it. So that's the way this effect works. It's not the kind of thing that you're going to do in front of the audience. One other thing I'll point out real quick, and then we'll talk about the gimmick itself. In the ad trailer, the ad copy it's all accurate. The ad copy is good, but there's one point where he says that the video trailer, at the end of the video trailer, the change is that there's no cuts and there's no edits, and it really is that fast. That's all true. If you go watch the video trailer, you'll see David Penn wearing like a red and blue striped tie. He holds the box up like right in front of the tie and then brings it down, and now it's changed to a different color. Well, in order to do that, he would have to, behind this box, he'd be grabbing the tie, which I'm not questioning that he did that. He grabbed the tie and he'd slid it off, and then he could have put it in his pocket or whatever. But the reality is you would never be able to do it that way to the audience, where you're facing them right in front of them. So you can't do the effect that way. I mean, you could, but they'd see everything. So just keep in mind that that wasn't a demonstration of how to perform it. It was just a demonstration to show you how easy it is to perform it. Hopefully that makes sense. So the way this works, you're going to need two ties, and you're going to destroy one of them. The one you destroy is going to be your outer shell. It's going to be the one that always starts off as the tie you're wearing, and then you remove that shell and it changes to another tie. Now, the tie it changes into can be any tie you want. The only catch is when you buy the tie that you're going to use, that you're going to cut up and make as your shell, along with the gimmick, and we'll get into depth about that in a minute. That tie has to be certain dimensions in proportion to the tie it's going to change into. So, as long as all your ties are like basically the same width and the same length when they're tied and everything, then you can use this shell on any of your ties. Now, if you got, like a super wide 70s tie or whatever, and then you got a like narrow 80s tie, your shell is only going to work on one of those, depending on which way you made it. And so you have to consider that when you make the shell. But other than that, as long as the ties are roughly the same size and you get the shell that you create is the correct proportion compared to the other tie, you're good. So you can use any ties you want. So what you get in this box is a little plastic gimmick that you're going to use that has some other things that I won't get into, but they help make the gimmick work. But then David Penn shows you how to take the tie that you're going to turn into your shell, how to cut it up, how to attach it to this plastic gimmick, and how to make it to where it'll slip right over your tie that you're wearing. And in the trailer, you'll see the red and blue striped tie he's wearing. That's the shell, and it looks like a regular tie. And it's not for one, it's not the kind of thing that you're going, look closely at my knot to make sure this is a legitimately tied. No, it's not that kind of thing. You just point out, look, I'm wearing this color of tie, and then later when it changes, it's a different color tie. It's not, so even if there were any little flaws in the way it looked, which there aren't any, but even if there were, it doesn't matter because it's not the kind of thing that people are, it's not like they're examining your tie, right? So the reason I didn't make the gimmick up is because I didn't have any ties that I wanted to destroy, and I didn't have time to go buy any. But it's so clear on this DVD how to make this shell that it's not the kind of thing I even need to have to test. It's not that kind of thing. Yeah, there's some things where you you got to make this weird card gimmick with all this stuff on it, and then you have to test to see if it really does work the way they say. But this is the kind of thing where it's obvious that it works exactly like he says. It's not that kind of a weird thing. It's just simply a simple shell that you make out of another tie that slides over your existing tie. So that's the basic gist of it. It's $47.15. It must be some sort of a euro to American money conversion or something. I don't know. Do they still use the pound in I don't know. Where is he from? Britain? I'm not sure where he's from exactly, but somewhere in Europe. So I don't know what the currency is over there. But anyway, it probably is just a translation thing. So $47.15 in American dollars is maybe a straight, $40 or $45, or does it go the other way? Don't ask me about currency. We'll change the subject. Anyway, so bottom line, for 47-ish American dollars, you get the shell, a very well done DVD that covers everything you need. And the shell, I meant the plastic thing that helps you make the shell. And then you just have to supply a tie, and you're going to need some double stick tape and some like duct tape. Yes, you need duct tape and double stick tape, but all that stuff is hidden the way this thing is constructed. You also need some Velcro, but they supply that, so you don't have to worry about that. So that's it. Bottom line is, if you're looking for like a quick, it's red, bam, it's blue visual thing, this is not what you're going to be getting. But that's not what the effect is. The effect is drawing attention to the tie for whatever reason, and he gives some suggestions on why you would be drawing attention to your tie. But I'm sure if you're a working pro, you can come up with your own reasons. I like the idea of perception and how people perceive things. But I also like the idea of, look, I have a red deck of cards. It matches my red tie. And then you do a color-changing deck routine, and somewhere in the routine, you've turned your back while they show around a card. And then when you turn back around, you've removed the shell, and now you're wearing a blue tie, but you don't call attention to it. And then finish the color-changing deck, and you go, yeah, see, it's a blue deck, just like my tie. That's how I would use it. I think that's a great way to do it. The only other thing I might do it is if I were just doing like a public speaking thing or teaching a class or something like that. I would start off with the one color tie and maybe draw attention to it at the beginning. Then somewhere during the lecture or whatever, I'd remove the shell. And then at the end, I'd draw attention to it just to mess with people. That's kind of but that's the thing you're getting. You're getting a psychological thing here, where you're using psychology, I should say, and the way people perceive things to put a gap in the time that you reveal the change from when it actually did happen. Because it's gonna go unnoticed. Believe me, it goes unnoticed. So I've done this kind of stuff before, where you can do that kind of thing, and people just don't notice it. So that's what you're getting. I don't know what else to say other than I think I've covered everything enough for you to certainly make a decision. As far as the product goes, the quality, the ad copy, the method, all that stuff, totally excellent. 5 stars, stone status of gem. So now your job is to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and listen to the random iTunes song of the moment, which is, oh yeah, Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. I've not heard this song forever. My list, my playlist that I go off of for this playlist is not all of my music, the one that I use for the random iTunes song. I don't even know how many songs on my playlist, but I have a specific playlist that's all 5 stars, stuff that I like, that I'll probably never get tired of, that I want to listen to over and over again. And it's been a while since this one's come up while I'm just playing and listening to it. There's 1,460 songs on this list. There's a lot of stuff on here. Anyway, Sultans of Swing, Dire Straits. Tune in tomorrow, day 58, where we're doing another book from Paul Carnazzo called Carnage. I've already read it, and the short version is, get it if you're into mentalism. But the full review will be tomorrow with all the details. Until then, folks, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.